With all youths of Apocalypse, the other boy was given to Granny Goodness. He would be raised in the X-Pit, forged into a warrior worthy of his pernicious new father. Tortured and maimed, he was hardened. The poor child tried again and again to run away from his horror, but he was always caught. Witnessing these efforts, Granny named the boy scot-free. Today on the Comic Book Report, Absolute Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerads from DC Comics. Stick around and check it out. Greetings everyone, my name is Dominic and today you're tuning in to the Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And today we are back in the world of DC Comics doing a review for my very first DC Absolute Edition. I know I teased this on I believe my recent haul video, but yes, this is the first DC Absolute Edition I have ever had, and it is for Mr. Miracle. I'm really excited to go ahead and review it today. I know I recently reviewed the standard size hardcover. I may try to link to that video as well in case you want to see my thoughts further on the story and that other collection. But yeah, this is a really fun one. I am a huge fan of Tom King's writing, and so to have this in an absolute format is a real dream. I just want to say a huge thank you to our channel sponsor, Organic Price Books, for sending it over for review. Like I said, I had a ton of fun with this one. And speaking of Organic Price Books, if you want to pick up your own comic book collected editions, I always encourage you to check out their website. I'll put a link to that in this video's description. And if you see anything on their website you like, you can actually use my discount code at checkout, The Comic Book Report, to save $2 off of your order. Please note if you use my affiliate link or code to make a purchase, I will earn a small commission, but it's probably the best way to support this channel. Thank you so much for considering. Now let's get started with today's Absolute Review. First, some quick facts about today's collection. The comics in this volume were written by Tom King and illustrated by Mitch Gerads. The comics in this volume were published by DC Comics beginning in 2017. The volume itself collects Mr. Miracle issues 1 through 12. And finally, this oversized absolute hardcover edition has beautiful glossy print paper stock, what appears to be a sewn binding, and a total of 440 pages. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and issue a general spoiler warning. I will be flipping through the contents of today's collection and commenting on plot points throughout. You've been advised. I'd also like to give a general mature content warning. This book does depict sequences of sexuality and minor nudity. I will try to edit around those sequences, but reader discretion advised. There are also sequences of violence and in one case a sequence of self-harm. Again, you've been advised. Okay, here's our first dedicated look at the cover for today's Absolute Edition. So this is my first time reviewing an Absolute, and it does have a nice slipcase. It almost feels like a little bit of a box set here. I am happy to say that the box on one side has these like die-cut covers cut out, the little squares, so it looks like Mr. Miracle is in kind of a jail cell. And then as you slide the book out, it's like he's kind of starting to escape. I thought that this was a really brilliant design. Because we have such a nice slipcase box here, I will try to show it from a couple different angles at the beginning of this video. Okay, and here's along one side of the slipcase. This is what shows the spine of the actual hardcover book, it coming out of the slipcase. So we have Absolute Mr. Miracle, the creators, and the DC Comics Black Label logo at the bottom. Really like this. It's definitely a sleek look. I'm excited to show you more angles of this incredible box. Now here is the back of the slipcase box, which looks like maybe the back of a cell or something of that nature. Not a ton of detail work here other than the design obviously, but I do like it. We don't have any text or anything really here, but again, a really slick looking box. If it wasn't immediately evident, so this hardcover does have the slipcase box, but there is no dust jacket or anything like that. But I will show you another angle of this box, and this is the kind of spine of the box that doesn't have the book coming out of it. It retains some of that prison cell look, which I like. It looks super futuristic and technological, which I like. It has Absolute Mr. Miracle, it has the creators, and of course the DC Comics logo right about the middle. And now I want to show some angles as well of the top and bottom of the box for the slipcase. Again, just to show you all the angles I can think of. The top, again, just kind of extending the jail cell look. I really like how immersive the slipcase is. It has such a rich attention to detail, and even though it's largely textless, other than that one side that has the details about the book, and this bottom here, I do think it's really nice. And now I'll go ahead and do some footage of me taking the book out of the slipcase so you can see what I'm talking about, where it looks like Mr. Miracle is escaping or emerging from the cell. Again, I just think that this is really lovely design work. I don't think all the Absolute Editions have these little die-cut squares like this. I really like that touch. Okay, now that it's out of the slipcase, I'll go ahead and just show you a couple things real fast. I'll show you what the slipcase looks like as I pick it up. I'll also pick up the book, give you a couple quick glances at this guy here. I know it comes with a ribbon as well sewn into it, which is a nice touch. And they actually threw in a little bonus facet for these new collections for this Absolute Mr. Miracle, which has this kind of poster that basically celebrates Mr. Miracle. It's signed by Scott Free, Mr. Miracle himself. I thought that that was a really fun little added nuance to this collection. Again, I don't know that all the Absolute Editions come with extra kind of swag thrown in there like this poster, so that was a really welcome treat. And now that we've done that basic overview, let's go ahead and look at the hardcover book in greater detail. So we have art here from Mitch Gerads, the series artist. I do believe he drew this new for this release, if I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I really like it. It's Mr. Miracle, Scott Free, bound up. Again, this is his escape attempt, I'm assuming. But I really like this front cover of the hardback. It's kind of the printed art on board itself. We don't have any text on this front cover. It's just the art. And what a showcasing. I know it's a little bit redundant, but I'm going to show you that spine again now that I've removed the book from the bookcase, slipcase, my goodness. But hey, it does look good on a bookcase, am I right? But yeah, so this spine here, it just has some kind of, tannish coloring. We have the name of the work, Absolute Mr. Miracle. We have the creators, and again, that DC Comics black label logo at the bottom. Pretty minimalistic here on the spine, but I do like it. It's really sharp. And on the back cover of the hardback book, we have Mr. Miracle kind of seeking to escape, screaming. I really like this. Should be maybe a little insidious or creepy, but I just think there's something comical about this as well. I really like the imagery here. I think it really does suit the work in some interesting ways. I like how expressive the facial expression is. And just really dig it. Again, no text here on the back. And now for all you prospective collectors out there, I just want to do a quick look at this book's binding. So as I mentioned, it appears to be a sewn binding, and what a binding. This Absolute Edition has some beautiful binding here. I like too with Absolute Mr. Miracle, or this Mr. Miracle story in general, we do have these kind of white borders around the paneling. Because of that and this exquisite binding, I'd say gutter loss in this collection is very minimal. Really happy to see that. Way to go, DC. Now, I mentioned at the top of the video I did recently review the standard size hardcover of Mr. Miracle from Tom King and Mitch Gerads. So I have that standard hardcover right here next to the absolute size, just so you can see just how gigantic these Absolute Editions are compared to your normal standard size hardcovers. Really, really liked that standard size hardcover, but now that I've checked out the Absolute, this is definitely the definitive reading experience for this particular work. I think that that's probably fairly obvious, but I should just state it. This is a massive upgrade. The art has never looked sharper. I love all the care and just detail work they added to this Absolute Edition. And again, I just thought I'd show you this for a bit of a scale comparison. And speaking of scale comparisons, I also thought I'd do an absolute size edition like this next to an omnibus edition from DC Comics. I know that's another great oversized format that a lot of collectors out there enjoy, including myself. So to do that, I did bring out my Batman by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale omnibus. Again, I'm going to show it here next to Absolute Mr. Miracle just to give you a size comparison. You can see that that absolute size just towers over the omnibus, which is already, again, a large edition. If you're interested as well, and if you haven't seen it, I actually did review this Batman omnibus on my channel, I think a couple years ago now. I'm a huge fan of Batman by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. This includes The Long Halloween, its sequel Dark Victory, Catwoman When in Rome, Batman Haunted Night, and a couple other extras. A really fantastic omnibus, one of my favorites actually. But yeah, I'll try to link the video of that review to this video if I think about it, so you can check it out for yourselves. Okay, and now we can go ahead and dive into today's collection. After some fun end pages, we do have a title page and some other standard front matter like publication information, creator breakdowns. We do have an introduction by Tom King, which is brilliant. After that, we jump into the first issue of this Mr. Miracle maxi series. Again, this whole series collects about 12 issues, so we have all of that represented here, along with a ton of extras at the back of the collection, which we will get to toward the end of the video. But what I love about this collection, and I mentioned it with the standard edition, was that we basically go into a primer on who Mr. Miracle is. And for those that don't know, he is the son of sort of this benevolent figure in the DC universe who's at war with this giant evil guy named Darkseid. He's one of the big bads of the DC universe. He also has a son that's newborn, and they have this horrible, horrible war. And the only thing that brokers peace is if these two kind of kings of their empires basically swap sons. And Mr. Miracle, scot-free, is raised by Darkseid in this kind of hellish planet, and so he's brought up really, really hardened and strong, but he also learns kind of escapism through this as well. He takes on the moniker of Mr. Miracle. He learns things from kind of a magician at one point. He goes to Earth. He marries someone he met on Apocalypse, that kind of horrible planet, and her name is Big Barda. She's a central figure in this as well. And yeah, he has exploits as a superhero. And again, they serve this up at the beginning as kind of a refresher on who this character is, so that this book can really be read by absolutely anyone. You don't need to know anything about Mr. Miracle, the fourth world characters within DC Universe, or anything like that. Honestly, you can pick this up fresh as a new reader and just have everything you need. In fact, this book appears to be outside the main DC continuity. This is something I see Tom King do a lot, especially with these mini or maxi series, just like Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, a work he did with Bilquis Evely, one of my favorites on the channel. I've reviewed it a couple times. I think that's outside the continuity as well. These books kind of exist in their own spaces. Again, I know this has a DC Black Label title. That's pretty common with those books as well. But I like it. I honestly don't think continuity really matters if you have a really great story, and I think that that's really what you have here. So what is Mr. Miracle? In case you didn't watch my review of the standard edition when I went into the plot line, I am going to go into it a little bit here in this video as well. But this video is also to showcase this absolute, well, just absolute edition, this absolute beauty of an edition. It's gigantic, as you can see here. But all the art is just beautifully represented here. I just really, really dig it. Anyway, after that primer on who Mr. Miracle is, we're introduced to Mr. Miracle at kind of a really hard crossroads in his life. I took out the image in this video, but essentially he tries to commit suicide. There's an instance of self-harm. They find him and try to nurse him back to health. And the rest of this book from that point is really kind of an existential, mind-tripped, possibly midlife crisis narrative. We have a slice of life feeling to this narrative overall, but we also have these surrealistic moments where you're not sure what is actually happening, what's in his head. Is he being kind of manipulated or corrupted by the anti-life equation? Is he just going through some kind of mental breakdown? Again, you're just not really sure that you have solid footing or grounding reading this, because you kind of come in and out of these narrative spaces and you see things displayed on these pages that you're like, is he losing his mind? Is there some kind of outside influence? Is this just him internally fighting his own just dark personal battles? And there is a lot of ambiguity here in this storyline. I'm actually not even sure what the definitive interpretation of this whole work is as a whole. I know what I've certainly gotten out of it, and I'm curious to see what I get out of it at subsequent stages of rereading or at different points in my life. But yeah, on its face, it's really this time in Mr. Miracle's life where he's overcome a suicide attempt and he's trying to find his footing in life again. He's still with his wife, Big Barda, who is just the love of his life. She is so sweet to him and just loving, and you just get to see their marriage on display. And honestly, I think it's one of the best depictions of marriage I have seen in this medium, full stop. It's a really beautiful take on their relationships, the highs and lows, and just the kind of enduring nature of romantic marital love. And I liked seeing that. You get to see their journey not only through marriage, but early parenthood. You discover in these pages that his wife is pregnant, and they have the birth of his son as a main focal point in this as well. You're also not sure how much that feeds into his new lease on life, but also his examination on what the role is for his life. And I like seeing that explored as well. So we have that all on one layer of the story, and I will say that that is probably the focal point. The heart of it all is really just his thoughts on life and marriage and fatherhood and his kind of traversal through all of that in the pages. But alongside that, we have this epic storyline where basically on the fourth world in New Genesis, that kind of benevolent planet in Apocalypse, there's kind of a reignition of this war. We have their father sort of passing away, and now, the next in line, the kind of heir apparent, is taking charge. And again, you're right on the brink of this huge war. Mr. Miracle and Big Barda sort of get caught up in this. They have to do their own parts to basically help the war effort, and along the way they start to question what's really going on here. It's all about Darkseid maybe finding the anti-life equation at long last. You're not sure if who's been corrupted by it and what's really going on. Orion is kind of the new heir apparent, and you're not sure if he's been corrupted or who's really fighting for the side of right. And you have just this epic interstellar war happening. But again, it's these human moments that really ground this story, and it's really the human moments in the midst of this larger epic landscape that really make this juxtaposition just so striking. This work is so attention-getting and unique. It's really hard to sum up in just a couple minutes, but I'm just so stricken by this work. It's honestly one of the most complex things I've read from Tom King. Again, I'm already a fan of his, but this is just really a work that I think will last the test of time because it really just has you bringing up all these big life questions. Again, it is such a philosophical or existential reflection. I don't know if this book is for everyone, but I've certainly gotten something out of it each time I've opened it up. And yeah, seeing it in this oversized format is just a real treat. Now, at the back of the Absolute Edition, and I say back, but it's almost a third of it, I would say, after those main 12 issues, we have a cover art gallery, which I love. This really kickstarts our portion of the extras. We have, I think, some variant covers as well, if I'm not mistaken. And that launches us into a broader collection of extras, which includes some scripts or storyboards to scripting pages. We have some photo references that inspired some of the scenes. We have some other things that kind of break down these homages that the team did to honor the original Jack Kirby Mr. Miracle series from the Fourth World. They even took quotations from like the beginnings and endings of those issues to correspond with the beginnings or endings of these issues as well, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. We go into all of it. They have excerpts from those early issues, and you can see how they translate that into this new series. Really liked that. There's something historical and beautiful and kind of symmetrical about that I thought was a cool way to honor the Legacy series. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. We're just starting to get to it. There was also, I believe, an unused issue or scene that they have here in a script format, which was cool as well from what I looked at. But yeah, really healthy amount of extras here at the back of this Absolute collection. I do think that the DC Absolute editions do usually collect a fair amount of extras, but again, I don't have a lot to compare to. I've seen some videos online, but this is my first Absolute, and I think that this was a really fun one to get. Not only do we get all of these issues and a boatload of extras, we have that cool die cut slipcase, we have that poster I showed you earlier. Again, this thing's just loaded. After some of those extras, they even have kind of the evolution of a lot of the covers we see throughout this book as well. I think if you're a fan of extras, including art extras and scripting, kind of behind the scenes, how these comics are made, this is a real treat for fans out there. Like I said, I really like this edition. I think it exceeded my expectations, and seeing it at the full size, holding it in your hands, honestly, my camera work is not going to convey it. It is really just amazing. This is a format I would definitely be interested getting more of these DC works in down the line as able. But yeah, this has been the Absolute Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerads from DC Comics Black Label. For all of you watching, I would be curious, do you enjoy this Mr. Miracle series? Have you read it before? What format do you have it in? Do you have this Absolute? Would you consider it? What other DC Absolute editions do you have, or do you hope to get one day? I'd love to hear all about that in the comments section, and now I think all that's left to do for this collection is to give it a grade. For one of the most complex yet beautiful slice of life, existential, epic stories I've ever read in the comic book medium, The Comic Book Report is happy to give Absolute Mr. Miracle by Tom King and Mitch Gerads from DC Comics Black Label an A. This is a fantastic collection. In fact, I think it's among the best of modern DC Comics. This is definitely a high bar in the Tom King catalog for me, alongside things like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and his work on Batman, of which I'm just a really huge fan. Yeah, definitely let me know what you think in the comments, though, on this one. Are you a fan of Tom King and Mitch Gerads? What other recommendations do you have from these creators? Do you like Absolute Editions? Again, let me know all of that in the comments. Again, a huge thank you to those at Organic Price Books for sending this over, and to all of you for taking this journey with me yet again. Until next time, this has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to leave your like, those comments we talked about, and maybe check out another one of my videos on your way out. Thanks, bye.